Hi guys. Hi. Did you miss me? I know it's been so long, like 3 weeks. Oh, how did you guys live without me? It's okay though if you missed me because I'm back. And I'm back to give you another anime review. But before I do, I want to show you something super cool. Alright, I'll give you a little hint of what it is. Scrolling. Oh! What is that? What is that? That is coolness. That is amazingness. That is fucking Saber. That is freaking Saber. And I love Saber. And now I have her on my wall. And I look at her all the time. And I am in love with her. And you're jealous. But that's okay. Anyway, this anime review is not going to be about Fate Zero because I already reviewed that. The anime that I'm going to be reviewing today just finished airing in Japan last month with a total of 12 episodes and is amongst the coming of age, music, and romance aspect, and it is known as Sakamichi no Poland, or better known as its English title, Kids on the Slope. Now, Kids on the Slope seems like a very strange title with literal means, but when you think of Kids on the Slope, do you think of young adults literally walking or running on a hill towards their destination? Or do you take it into a lyrical means and personify the slope as one person's emotional struggles in their lives? How about focusing around 5 teenagers in their high school days in the mid-1960s, when thick frame glasses, cream sodas, and the new age of rock music were popular, leaving the jazz genre behind as a near passerby. However, Kaoru, Sentaro, Ritsuko, Junichi, and Yurika all found each other, and their love for jazz music brought them together as friends. There's Kaoru, who is our main protagonist, who has just moved from Yosuka to Kyushu to live with his aunt as his father works abroad. Being borderline aristocratic has made Kaoru develop social anxiety, and has made Kaoru so uncomfortable to the point where at times he even gets sick in public. While running to the roof of the school to cope with his anxiety, he runs into the delinquent of the school, Santaro Kawabuchi, where things were supposed to turn out for the worse, but actually end up differently when they actually show chemistry and end up getting along. With each other, Kaoru, Santaro, his senpai and band member Juichi, and his childhood friend Ritsuko and Yurika become really good friends and all share the same strong interest in jazz music. The story mainly focuses on the adventures of Kaoru, Santaro, and Ritsuko, who become the strong three. But does this newly bonded friendship turn into a love triangle for the worst? Or do their emotions play out all through their music sessions? The music of jazz is the medium where you can play your deepest blues or rage out your happiest tunes. The story of Kids on the Slope revolves around this group of teenage students who are coming to learn the struggles faced in their age, most primarily the struggle of love, and not only just the famous romantic love with that special someone, but their love and friendship. Unfortunately, the idea of Kids on the Slope is supposed to be mainly music-based as well, and I must say that the story does focus more on the characters' stories, which has their jazz band mixed in between as a gateway. Their music at times can cure them, and that's the only sense that the music aspect has for us. Though watching them play and hearing it as well is one great experience, and without spoiling it for you, I would have to say that there's many emotions to come from Kids on the Slope, and overall, I enjoyed it. Now, as I mentioned before, this anime is set in the 1960s, and this is when the Beatles were becoming popular in not only Japan, I guess, but all over the world. So in America as well, they were becoming very popular. And so watching this, it really feels like Japan didn't have much of a profound culture as they do today. Or seeing how like in most animes, it's just not as profound, and it felt more, to me, it felt more Americanized because they were doing like, they're going inside music parlors, and the way that they talked, especially their dialect, just seems like it has like this 50s American lingo to it. So watching this was a nice little refresher to me to see how Japan was back then, and I feel like I somewhat relate to it, and I just thought that was really interesting. Now moving on, we also have the characters, and since this series is only 12 episodes long, I will say that you didn't get much backstory or development on Junichi and Yurika, though through the 1 or 2 episodes that you got on them, you did get a sense of their personality and their pains through Kids on the Slope. Though our main character Kaoru is one character that brilliantly shown in this series. Kaoru changed from a quiet and antisocial person to someone who was brave and soft-hearted and lively. Sentaro was the guy that didn't want to be bothered because he knew how people felt about him until he let Kaoru in. With the help of the sweet and innocent Ritsuko, who seemed like the mother of the bunch but also had an important part in the series. Seeing how these 3 characters grow really enhanced all the emotions brought into Kids on the Slope. I do feel a strong attachment to Kaoru, Sentaro, and Ritsuko, and their characters made the story that much more realistic and enjoyable with their reactions to certain events in Kids on the Slope.
The animation was produced by MAPPA Studios and co-produced with Tezuka Productions. I couldn't find any information on MAPPA, but Tezuka Production has a small list of works that spreads out in a 30-year radius, with their most known work with Astro Boy. Though Kids on the Slope was animated by two slow producing companies, I do feel as if MAPPA Studios and Tezuka Productions did a great job. You feel like the animation goes well with the music theme because the jamming sessions are all well angled and in sync with the gestures of the characters and the playing of the instruments. Also, the colors used seem very rustic and vintage, which I feel blends with the color scheme of the 60s, where everything is rural in this country town they reside in. One main thing I noticed that I don't see done in any other animation studio is display the shadows and the highlights in the face that enhances the facial structures in the characters. And the brown iris of the eyes that everyone shares gives off that sentimental, melancholy, and nostalgic tone of Kids on the Slope. That goes with the premise of the series. I overall enjoyed the preserved animation that went perfectly with the theme and the tone of Kids on the Slope. Now, the music is one aspect of Kids on the Slope that cannot go without being talked about. I will say that even though the music aspect was expected by many viewers to be the main plot of the story of Kids on the Slope, it was only a subplot, which did disappoint most viewers because the composer and the music is by the renowned Yoko Kanno, who is best known for the music in Cowboy Bebop, which blew away the minds of us viewers, especially since this generation of the jazz genre is an endangered species. However, I feel that the music being one of the aspects of Kids on the Slope was done well in a sense of balancing out the jazz sessions with the story of what the characters go through, and how the music can make them or break them. In the entertainment sense, I would say that the music in Kids on the Slope is a great add-on to Yoko Kanno's collection of works, because for me, the twist of hearing the jazz music was very uplifting and inspirational for me, and I'm not even a jazz kind of girl. The jazz from the past was all nostalgic for the theme, entertaining to the ears, and well balanced into the story. And even if the music wasn't jazz-based, I would have to say that there were certain scenes and situations when I physically stopped breathing and started tearing from the pure elegance and beauty of the music. It felt so heaven-sent, which really goes with the coming of the age scheme perfectly, and overall I would say that this subplotted aspect within itself is a perfect score for me.
Now, another thing in the music aspect, because I had so much to say about it, I know I usually talk about the opening and ending themes as well. And for me, the opening theme for Sakamichi no Poland, or I'm sorry, I'm going to start saying the English title. The opening theme for Kids on the Slope to me was so, like, beautiful. And it wasn't, like, super catchy, like, you know, dancing to it, singing to it. Well, it was kind of singing to it, but to me, like, watching it, you kind of feel like you get, like, the soul of what the anime is about. And to me, it felt really nostalgic, like how they were running down the slope together. And it just shows, like, the very strong friendship that Kaoru and Sentaro had. And I just thought it was really great how that opening theme really opened everything up, especially like the whole anime. I just felt like that was really impressive. And another thing that I know I did mention earlier is the relationship that Walking on the Slope had with their emotional struggles. Like whenever everything was going fine and dandy and everything was happy, they would explain how going down the slope was so easy, like going down, facing the struggle, and getting towards the bottom, which is the end. And also, like, climbing up the slope, how difficult it was when something hard was going on in the story. And I felt like the relationship that they had with the title and the story itself was really, like, you know, it was just so, to me, it's so, like, intellectual how they kind of, like, just throw that in there in the midst. It's kind of like analyzing it a bit, and I really liked witnessing that. Another thing I have to say up front is that I really love this anime, and I felt like all the emotions that I got, I would laugh, I would like squeal, I cried a couple times. I feel like this anime really can get you in the mood for anything, and the emotions that occur is because that this story is just so genuine to me. And one thing that could be a little off for a lot of you guys is that this anime is based off of a josei manga, and josei is mainly for a female audience. So I know a lot of people were going into this anime expecting a more like music theme, like another Beck, but that didn't happen. And I know that a lot of people are disappointed about that, and also the whole bromance thing with Sensoro and Karu, which I don't really mind. But they weren't in love. This isn't a yaoi. This isn't any kind of gay relationship story. It's just a really strong friendship that they have together, and they do like other girls, so I don't want that to throw you off at all. So if you're looking for something that does have awesome music in it, but does have a slice of life and romance side to it, I think Sakamichi no Poland is a great anime to watch. And don't think just because that it wasn't the next spec, or that because it is based off a Josei manga, that you're not going to like it, because I don't think it will do that, because I really didn't get the feeling that it was meant more towards females until maybe like the middle or like the end of the anime. But still, they have a great balance between the subplot of the music and the subplot with what's happening with the kids. So I really think that this is worth watching. Though I will say, because I know everything can't be as perfect as Fate Zero, I will say that one thing that did throw me off is the ending. And I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, but I did feel as if the ending was a little rushed. It was satisfying, very satisfying, but it was rushed. And I know that can throw some people off. I mean, I got a little disappointed, but overall, this whole anime, what it has to bring to you, is just great. And like I said, just because it's based off a Josei manga, and because it wasn't the next spec, don't get disappointed. I really recommend watching this for anybody that's looking for something with a little bit of romance and a little bit of spunk and jazz, and get you out of this modern anime with all this moe, girly harem stuff. Get away from that and just watch Sakamichi no Poland, because out of a lot of the airing animes, this one is really good, and it is original to me. So check out Kids on the Slope if you haven't already. If you have watched Kids on the Slope, tell me what you thought about it. If you didn't like it, why don't you tell me why, if I didn't mention the possible reasons why you wouldn't like it. Also, tell me what you thought about my review, and until next time.